Rainbow Reflections, Book 1, A Kind of Magic. Chapter 13, One Vision. The day of spirits was soon upon them. Ren woke up early that Sunday morning, even before Zin's usual wake-up call. She got dressed in a midnight blue robe and sat down in the center of her room to meditate, breathing in the scents of flowers and soil. "Good morning," Zin called out shortly. "Morning," Ren replied as Sorala screamed, "Shut up! Watch your tone!" Hyaktu's bark came. "Sorry, Mr. Saihan." Ren opened her eyes and snorted in laughter. Sorala wasn't accustomed to Hyaktu still being in the tower when they all woke up, as he was often out training. He typically only hung around the tower in the morning for special events. Ren opened her door, but didn't see Zin anywhere. Figuring that Zin was looking for a specific robe to wear for the holiday, Ren went down the stairs to the family room. Hyaktu was waiting for her, dressed in a silver robe covered in black and white symbols. "Good morning, Dad," Ren said cheerfully. "Hello, Ren." Hyaktu was standing by one of the tables, but he hurried over to Ren and glanced up the stairs. Ren frowned, looking at her father expectantly. "Did Zin talk to you last night?" Hyaktu asked her. "No," Ren questioned. "Is something wrong? She didn't sound that happy this morning." "I think she's having a hard time in school," Hyaktu told her a bit hesitantly. "I tried to talk to her about it yesterday, but she got mad at me. I believe she thought I was comparing you two when I asked her if she was having a hard time with her magic because you have no problem with it. I thought that it could be a potential block if she thinks her magic is weak compared to yours." "Oh," Ren said dully, not knowing how to reply. "Kershid and Fern told me that she's unable to do any sort of magic, actually," Hyaktu went on, eyeing her closely. "But she did do magic in the fight assessment, right?" "Yes," Ren replied at once, trying not to sound alarmed at his question. "Does he know?" she wondered, being sure to keep the thought to herself. Hyaktu gazed at her for a long moment. "Have you seen her do magic at any other point?" "Yes, she's done magic a few times during magic channeling, but she seems to be unable to do it in potions with Fern glaring her down," Ren said, pushing her glasses up. It wasn't a complete lie, as Fern was definitely intimidating enough to make someone too anxious to use their magic. "And you'd tell me if you knew anything, right?" Hyaktu pressed. A lump formed in Ren's throat, and she was glad they were speaking telepathically. "What do you mean by that? Do you think Zin is cheating or something?" Hyaktu pursed his lips, shifting uneasily. "I'm not sure, but if you don't know anything, I bet it's just some sort of magic block or low self-confidence or something natural." He shook his head, his hair falling across his concerned eyes. "And you're sure Zin hasn't talked to you about this? Maybe she's opened up to you about something she's struggling with?" "I haven't seen her since art club, actually." "Did she miss dinner?" Hyaktu asked, shoving his hair out of his face. "I'm not sure," Ren admitted awkwardly. "How can you not know? You two do everything together." "We didn't eat together," Ren told him, realizing she had said nothing about Frost. "Are you two fighting?" Hyaktu asked, looking even more alarmed. "I noticed you weren't with Zin and Sorala at lunch either. Is this why Zin's facing magic blocks? I don't want magic to come between you two." "No, it's not that. I promise it's not," Ren said hastily, biting her bottom lip. "I just kinda got a boyfriend now." "A boyfriend?" Hyaktu asked blankly, blinking several times. "Frost Wolf. He asked me in art club yesterday. I said yes, and we went to lunch together. Then we had dinner together, too." As Hyaktu continued to look uneasy, she pressed on hurriedly. "It's nothing serious, Dad. At least, I don't think it is. I just thought I'd be nice by saying yes." Hyaktu put a hand on her shoulder. "Ren, I'm very thankful that you are a kind person, but you can't just be saying yes to people if you don't actually care for them." "But how would I know if I care for them if I don't give them that chance?" Ren asked seriously. "I don't know him that well, but he wants to get to know me, so why can't I agree to that? It's not like he's a jerk. If he was, I wouldn't have said yes. Zin came down the stairs as Hyaktu tried forming a response, and their telepathic conversation broke off. Hyaktu smiled at Zin, but Zin kept her eyes on the ground and didn't say anything. She wasn't dressed in any robes, just her stripy long-sleeve shirt, fully buttoned, and baggy red pants. "Hey, Zin," Ren said, beaming. Zin glanced up at her for a moment, forced a small smile, then went back to staring at the ground. An awkward silence filled the family room, the tension heavy in the air. Do we need to talk about something?" Ren asked them at last, sticking to the telepathic conversation in case Sarala came down. "If anyone needs to talk to me, I'm here and willing to listen," Hyaktu said at once, glancing at Zin. Zin kept her eyes firmly on her feet. "Everything's fine. What are we doing for the holiday?" Ren exchanged a glance with her father. He shrugged in response, then said aloud, "We'll be doing a meditation in the forest and give the spirits our praise." Zin nodded once. "Zin, what's wrong?" Ren asked her sister, blocking Hyaktu out. Zin looked over at her, an odd expression on her face. Ren couldn't figure out what might be going through her mind, especially as she did not respond. The sisters stared at each other, Hyaktu looking from one to the other. But before anything more could be said, by thoughts or out loud, Sarala entered the room. She stared at the family, standing in a triangle with some distance between them. The tension was still as thick as fog. Sarala turned and went right back up the stairs. The Saihan family waited for her footsteps to fade away before they resumed the conversation, Hyaktu joining in once more. "Is there something going on that I need to know about?" "No, I know there is something going on. Can you please tell me what it is?" Ren didn't give Zin a chance to answer. "Zin's just upset that I'm dating Frost now," she lied to Hyaktu, pushing her glasses up her nose again. "She's mad that I abandoned her at lunch and dinner yesterday. That's all." Zin didn't argue and remained silent, leaning against the couch with her arms crossed over her chest. Hyaktu looked between the twins again, a suspicious gleam in his eyes. Ren's head was stirring to her, and she sighed lightly. "If Zin wants to tell Dad, it's her decision," she thought to herself. "But I've done what I could." "About Frost and dating," Hyaktu said aloud. "I suppose I better have the sit-down talk with you two." Zin snorted aloud. "I'll skip this one." "It's important," Hyaktu said urgently. "I have zero interest in dating, thanks," Zin said gruffly. Hyaktu blinked. "Oh, right." He turned to Ren. "Well..." "Yes, Dad, I know," Ren said in slight exasperation. "Don't worry. Like I said, I don't think it's serious. I doubt we'll do more than hold hands, if we even get that far." Hyaktu frowned. "I just want you two to understand that if you're not careful..." "Bye!" Zin said abruptly, and she hurried to the stairs. "I'm going out for some fresh air," Ren grumbled as Zin's footsteps faded upstairs. "I'm getting a headache." She turned on the balls of her feet and quickly scampered to the tower door before her father could reply. As she exited the family room, she could hear his soft sigh behind her. Ignoring this, she bounded through the Tai Chi studio and the courtyard alike, her feet taking her to the entrance hall unconsciously. "I'll just get an early start to the holiday celebration, if we're even doing that still," Ren thought as she crossed the empty hall. Her heart sank at the prospect, and guilt seeped through her. Stopping in her tracks abruptly beside the glass doors, despair took over her mind and her breathing quickened. Am I ruining things? Am I ruining the family? Dad wanted me to tell him what was going on, and I lied to him. And what if I just made things worse for Zin? What if she gets mad at me? What if... A yowl sounded outside, and Ren was pulled from her thoughts at once. Was that an animal? Did it just get hurt? She wondered. I have to go help it. Yet Ren realized that she didn't have the key to the glass doors. Swiveling around, she headed for the admin hall, throwing open the first door on her right. Entering the lemon-scented storage room, she clambered over boxes of cleaning supplies and bamboo paper products until she reached the window. Ren grabbed the bottom edge of the window and heaved it up, groaning lightly at the effort. Once it was open, she stumbled out into the dirt. She had hardly taken 2 steps when growling croaks sounded behind her. Glancing over her shoulder, she realized that 2 frog-oils were hopping out the window after her. "Dad's enchantments," she breathed, straightening up. "But I need to help that animal." Without giving it a second thought, Ren bolted away to the trees, her purple hair flying behind her. She crashed through prickly bushes that tore at her clothes, but she did not allow that to deter her. The yowl came again to her right, seeming to be only paces away. Slowing down, Ren swiftly turned towards the screech and jumped through the plants until she burst through a clearing. Ren scanned the ground for any signs of a struggle. Churned soil or scattered feathers, maybe blood. But the clearing was empty. Panting lightly, Ren pricked her ears and glanced around, wondering if she was missing something in the shadows. "Hello?" she called softly, not wanting to alert the frog-oils to her position. "Is anyone out here?" A low moan sounded behind her, and she turned about. Yet nothing was there. She couldn't even hear the stone statues hopping through the plants, and pondered briefly if the frog-oils had lost her trail. "Hello?" Ren called again. She was certain something was right in front of her, but she could not see anything. Her headache growing more intense, she closed her eyes, hoping the small action would amplify her hearing. "Where are you?" she whispered, willing the creature to make noise again. "How can I help you?" The words had barely left her mouth when Ren suddenly collapsed, writhing in pain, her entire head feeling like it was going to explode. She screamed out in agony, her hands rigid as they tried to reach for something, anything, to make it stop. But there was nothing. What was happening to her? Why wouldn't the pain end? Then images flashed through her mind, but they were going too fast, she couldn't make them out. As she tried to focus on them, she noticed the pain less and less. Her mind went black. She was floating. Or was she being dragged away? "The animal," her mind thought dully, her stomach churning unpleasantly. "It tricked me. It called me in, then attacked me. It's taking me to its lair right now, isn't it?" Ren forced her heavy eyes to open, the world too bright around her. Groaning, she lifted a bone-weary hand to shield her eyes, attempting to take in her surroundings. But it turned out she hadn't been floating or getting dragged away. She had been carried out of the forest and back to the school, right to the healing room. She recognized the strong scents of mint and lavender, her eyes taking a long moment to adjust. When they finally did, she could make out several long beds in front of her and cabinets lined with plants and potion vials. Something stirred beside her, and Ren flinched in a panic. Yet she had nothing to worry about. It was just Hyaktu and Zin, both of them hovering over the soft bed she had been placed upon. Dizzy and confused, Ren nearly swayed and fell over. But wasn't she already lying down? How could she fall over if she was already on her back? Groaning, she closed her eyes, willing the nauseous feeling in her stomach to go away, for the headache to retreat. "Are you okay?" Hyaktu asked in a soft voice. Ren moaned in response. "The frog-oils alerted me that someone had left the school," Hyaktu murmured, stroking her hair with his hand gently. "I took off after you at once, and when I found you, you were just lying on the ground, screaming in pain." "What happened to you?" Zin asked, her voice cracking in concern. "Why'd you leave the school?" Everything was starting to come back to her, though she still felt dazed and lightheaded. It took her a moment to speak. "There was a hurt animal," she mumbled into the pillow, keeping her eyes firmly shut. "I heard it. I wanted to help it." "So you went out," Hyaktu said promptly. "Did you find it?" "No," she grunted. "I think it tricked me. Sounded hurt, then attacked me." "That explains all the scratches," Zin uttered nervously. Ren could feel her twin shivering beside her. "That's from the plants," Ren murmured. "The animal, or whatever it was, attacked my head, I think? Wait, no, I just had a headache. It hurt so bad, and then I saw things. You saw things? Hyaktu repeated in concern, his hand pausing. What sort of things? Ren shook her head and buried her face in the pillow. I'm not sure, she admitted. They were just whizzing by before I could get a good look at them. Hyaktu frowned. Zin, go get Aster and make sure Fern's on her way. Zin scampered away at once, a door slamming shut behind her. Ren winced at the loud noise, though the headache was gradually leaving her. She let out a soft sigh, trying to relax her body as the nausea also dwindled. How are you feeling now? Hyaktu asked her, running his hand through her hair again. She turned around and opened her eyes. A little better. My head still hurts a bit, but it's more like the type of headache you have after straining your eyes too much when reading, not torture pain. Hyaktu frowned deeply. Dad, what happened to me? Ren croaked. Could an animal have done that to me? But it doesn't make sense. My head was starting to hurt before I went outside. I don't know if there was an animal at all. Do you think I hallucinated hearing that animal in pain? Hyaktu shook his head, sitting on the bed beside her. I'm not sure. It sounds like you had a vision, but I don't know where the animal might have come in. Maybe what you heard was part of your vision? A vision? Ren repeated. Hyaktu nodded. I've never seen it happen, but it sounds like it, from what I've read. The head hurting like it's about to burst, the collapsing, the quick images. I'm sure it was a vision. Ren frowned. But visions are... Visions of the future, typically as warnings of bad things to come, Hyaktu said with a slow nod. But how's it supposed to warn me if I don't remember any of it? Ren asked, her heart beginning to race in panic. Some people reported their visions would repeat, especially before the particular event was to take place. Why bother warning me, though? Ren asked in confusion. If visions are things that come true, if there's no stopping it... There is, Hyaktu said reassuringly. Some people have had visions where they were able to figure out what the visions meant in time to stop events from happening. That's why visions are warnings. Ren sighed. That still doesn't help me. Hyaktu frowned. Did you hear anything, feel anything? Just lots of pain and screaming, she said in a light-hearted way, the nausea now fully gone. Hyaktu rolled his eyes. I can see you're getting back to normal, he commented, ruffling her hair. Ren chuckled at the action, though it increased her headache levels again. Just then, Zin entered the healing room with Fern and Aster on her heels. She hurried to Ren's side and crouched beside the bed, peering up at Ren in concern. Fern approached briskly, shooing Zin away as she bent over Ren, inspecting her quickly. What happened? Fern demanded. Ren repeated the events of her supposed vision to Fern and Aster. Neither of them interrupted her, and they were quiet for a long time after she spoke. Here, take this, Fern said abruptly, shoving a glass vial into Ren's hands. It'll make your headache go away. Ren nodded and drank the potion, which tasted like bark and left a dry taste in her mouth. Well? Hyaktu asked Fern and Aster. Aster nodded slowly. I believe Ren had a vision. That's what I thought, Hyaktu murmured. But as she said, she can't remember anything. You can hardly expect her to remember her very first vision, Aster said, looking at Hyaktu incredulously. It's more of a shocker than anything, and it drains your energy. It takes a bit of getting used to before you can focus on what the vision actually is. Am I going to keep getting visions? Ren asked in dismay. Aster shrugged. Possibly, most people do. Sometimes there'll just be the one vision over and over until the event occurs, or is avoided or changed. Other times, the person will get many different visions for the rest of their lives. It just depends. Well, what do I do about it? Aster shrugged. Just pay attention to them whenever they occur again, since it's likely you'll keep receiving them. But where do they come from? Ren asked. Some people think it's the universe, some people think it's the spirits, Aster said vaguely. Some people think it's their magic, or some special gift that makes them a seer. Ren frowned. But you know, don't you? It doesn't really matter where they came from, Aster said slowly. It matters that someone is looking out for you. Ren stared at the cotton blanket, her frown growing deeper. Was it that animal? She pondered. Did it give me visions? And if so, why? What's it trying to warn me about? Thinking of the warning made Ren suddenly recall what she'd been wondering before she had left the school. Is the vision trying to tell me that I'm hurting this family? That I'll break it? Ren's breathing quickened, and she flicked her eyes to Hyaktu and Zin, who were both still watching her closely as Fern and Aster talked in low voices. No, I'm not going to let that happen. If anything, today just proved that we're still a family, that we still love each other no matter what issues we might be going through. Ren grinned at the thought, causing her father and sister to both smile in return. I love you so much, she whispered to them. Zin reached forward to hug Ren, Hyaktu quickly joining in. I love you too, they both said in unison. Ren breathed in the sweat, dirt, and wood scents clinging to her family, the familiar scents that distinguished them. Her beam grew wider as she hugged them more tightly. Nothing will ever come between us.